Hey everybody, it's been a while since my last video, but I just went through a move with my family, so hopefully everything is settling down and I can start posting regularly. I'm going to try to keep it, I'm going to try to do a video once a week, but we'll see how that goes. But before we get started, tell the like button what's your favorite fantasy creature, and if you haven't already subscribed, tell the subscribe button what spaceship you'd like to travel in. I have posted my first finished story on my blog, so I'd love for you right now to go ahead and pause the video, go to my blog, read the story. It's called the Ribbidum Cat, but for most of the video I'm just going to be talking about the story. There will be some kind of spoilers for it. I mean, it's just a short story, but if you'd like to read the story before you hear me talk about it, please go ahead and pause the video now. But with that out of the way, I'm gonna just go ahead and start talking about my story. Well, I'm glad to actually put a full-length story that I finished on my blog. I found another older story that I actually did finish that I'll be posting sometime soon. Maybe that's the next one that I'll post, because I'm working on a couple other stories right now. But I had a really good time writing this story, the Ribbidum Cat. Whenever I can find a piece of music that really connects with what I'm trying to write down, get from my head to paper, so it always makes writing just a lot more fun. I had a really fun piece that I was able to find that helped, especially in the climax of the story, really helped me to transfer what was in my head to what I wanted on the page. But you'll have to let me know how the climax of the story went. The main characters of my story are Till and the Ribbidum Cat. And what kind of makes this story a little bit unique, or how I tried to make this story unique, was with the cat. It's a cat, but it has a split personality, kind of. I tried to give a physical representation of when it changes personalities. So there's a calico colored personality where it's just very super lazy, and then there's a black cat personality where it's very distrustful and aggressive. And in my head, as I was writing the story, the aggressive personality had a very had a very deep voice, and in my head I had it have like a Cockney accent. But I didn't quite know how to really bring that onto paper. Maybe what I had in my head didn't translate quite onto paper what I wanted to have in the story. Let me know what you thought about both kind of personalities that I tried to write. I've never even attempted to write a character like this before, so I'd love your feedback on what you thought about the characters, both the Till, the young boy, and the cat. I tried to show in a physical way in the story when the personalities were changing. If the black cat was there, on one side of its face it had a calico splotch that was kind of floating, and then when it changed to the other personality, the splotch would move from that side of the face to the other, and it would change from black to calico, and there would be a black splotch on its face. And I didn't want to tell that, I wanted to more show that, because when I read books, and more so when I guess watch movies, I gravitate more towards the show than the tell. The tell just seems like a big just exposition dump, and I didn't want to do that. Maybe that's come across a little more confusing with this character of the Ribbidum Cat. And so yeah, let me know what you thought about that after you've read the story, if that exposition was more necessary. And there are some stories that I've read and watched that can do exposition well. I wanted to be a little more creative with it. I wanted to either just kind of get the story out and a little more straightforward with it. But yeah, let me know what you think about that. I did admittedly do some exposition. I tried to make it more so in the form of like a legend, with why the city of Saw is half of the city of Saw is just over a cliff. on a mountain. There's nothing underneath it. With the story of the giants, I wanted to do that. I thought it was a little better way of doing some exposition and having like a kind of a legend behind it, and how a lot of the landscape around that city and just the world was shaped. So I've read other stories where they'll kind of just stop in the middle, and there'll be a bard, and he'll just go into this legend or a song, and it's just this legend separated from the entire story right in the middle of this bigger story. And I've enjoyed that when stories do that. Let me know what you think about that. I tried to write another story where I did that, but I haven't quite finished that one. Stories that talk about giants or elves or goblins. That's something I want to do more in my stories, is bring in a lot more kind of magical creatures, even not as well-known magical creatures, because to me it brings a lot more depth to the story and to the world. I think, yeah, more depth to the world, and kind of fleshes that out, makes it feel bigger and more grand. And some of the stories that I read, some of the books I read growing up that did that well were the Spiderwick Chronicles and The Hobbit. And I've always liked that, because it just, you feel like you're meeting more characters, and there's just these other kind of smaller stories that might be hidden in the cracks of the crevices of this world. And at least that's what it meant for me anyway. I enjoy that quite a bit. If you finish the story, then you know the climax of when I talk about that, when they're falling through the well and floating or flying towards the crack in the side of the mountain where that old city is. And that's part of the story that I enjoyed writing the most. I had a music piece that I found called De-Evolution or Devolution by Tales of the Forgotten. It's a really cool piece. It really kind of lent that idea of falling, and there being this kind of epic kind of scene of chaos and beauty, of being in the sky. And I tried to capture that as best I could of what that might feel like, but I know I can do a better job of that as I continue to write, because I am satisfied with that, but at the same time I'm kind of not. I like what I did. Maybe I just liked when I wrote it, but I think there's more of what I'm thinking in my head and trying to translate that into words that I can do a definitely better job on. But let me know what you thought about that, about the climax and about the music piece if you go and listen to it. It's De-Evolution, or D and then Evolution by Tales of the Forgotten. I liked the piece quite a bit. Going forward with my writing, this is kind of the direction that I'd like to go in with my writing, kind of writing these fantastic worlds with fantastic creatures and, you know, quirky characters and cool adventures and really cool action pieces and maybe some cool fight scenes as well. I don't know if right now I can write like a fight scene or very well. I'd like to do that. Something I wanted to kind of do as well is riff on some different legends that I find like a lot of other authors do. And there was one legend, Irish fairy tale actually, that I read recently called The Little White Cat, that I think could work maybe well with the Ribbidum Cat, and maybe expand this universe a little bit and see if people like what I'm doing with this character. But I'd like to, find some other stories that I can riff off of too, and find and see what I can, do. But thanks for watching this video, and like I said, I'm hoping to do a lot more videos in the future now that things have kind of settled down with this move. But yeah, please let me know what you thought about the story, or even the video in the comments, the good, the bad, or just any other thoughts that you might have. But thank you so much for tuning in, and hope to see you in the next video.